You won't believe what happened to Aaron Kaufman from Fast and Loud. He was a fan favorite, working alongside Richard Rawlings to make the show a huge hit. But out of nowhere, Aaron decided to leave, leaving everyone shocked. Why would he leave such a successful show when he was so important to it? Join us as we dive into the real reasons behind his surprising departure that will send shockwaves inside the entertainment industry. Behind the scenes of his sudden exit. Let's try to unpack why he would decide to leave the show so unexpectedly. First off, his leaving was a shock because he was one of the top guys at Fast and Loud, right up there with Richard. You see, the show did well not just for the cool car rebuilds, but because he and Richard worked so well together. They always spoke highly of each other in public, and it seemed like they managed to get along without any big fights, which can be rare in high-stress jobs like theirs. But then he just up and left. No warning, nothing. It made a lot of fans wonder what really happened. Before we delve into this, it's clear that what happened behind the scenes is far more dramatic than anyone could have imagined. And this won't be the only thing that will shock you. Before we dive deeper into Aaron's story, it's worth mentioning that he wasn't the first to exit the show. Tom Smith and Jordan Butler, two well-liked mechanics, had already left the show before him. However, their leaving didn't make waves like he did. Maybe it's because he had a deeper connection with Richard and the core of the Gas Monkey Garage, which is the workshop where the show is filmed. Even though Tom and Jordan were also important to the team and were really good at what they did, their departure didn't raise as many eyebrows. The news of Tom and Jordan leaving hit the fans hard. These two were skilled mechanics and seemed happy with the show, so their sudden departure seemed out of the blue. Rumors started to fly because it's hard to believe that such key people would just walk away without a solid reason. At first, people didn't even believe the news. They thought it was just gossip because, as we know, anyone can say anything online. But then, as more websites started reporting the same thing, it became clear that Tom and Jordan were really gone. This news spread quickly and had fans scrambling to find out why. Now, fans handle this kind of news in different ways. Some fans refused to believe it. They couldn't imagine Fast and Loud without Tom and Jordan. It's like when you get used to having your favorite characters on a TV show. You don't want them to leave. This is something psychologists talk about a lot. People prefer to stick with what they know and often reject new information that contradicts what they believe. This is called confirmation bias. It's why some fans held on to the hope that the news wasn't true, despite more and more reports confirming it. However, when the departure of Tom and Jordan was finally confirmed, it hit the fans hard. People felt like they were losing part of their TV family. Tom and Jordan were not just mechanics. They were like those fun, interesting relatives who could light up a room. Their presence made the show about more than just cars. They brought life and laughter to it, making viewers feel like they were hanging out with friends. So why did they leave? Well, people usually keep quiet about their reasons for leaving a job, especially in the TV world. They might be dealing with personal issues or disagreements that they prefer not to share publicly. Sharing that kind of stuff can reopen wounds and make it harder to move on. It's common for people in these situations to want to leave quietly without stirring up more drama. Speculation about Tom and Jordan's reasons for leaving continues. It's possible they wanted something different from what the show could offer them. Maybe they dreamed of starting their own businesses or just wanted a change of pace. In America, there's a big appeal in being your own boss, and maybe that's what they were after. But without their side of the story, all these are just guesses. And that brings us back to him. His exit was even more confusing. Given his role in his close relationship with Richard, you'd think he'd stick around, especially during the show's high points. But he left, and now everyone is left wondering, just like with Tom and Jordan. Did he want more from his career? Was he tired of the TV lifestyle? Or maybe there were things going on behind the scenes that made it hard for him to stay. After learning about Tom and Jordan leaving, let's focus on him again and start digging into the big questions about why he left. The unexpected exit of two fan favorites. These questions show just how much fans get attached to their favorite shows and stars. They don't just watch for the entertainment, they also feel a connection with the people on the screen. When those people leave, it can feel like a personal loss. That's the power of television. It brings people into our homes and lives in a way that makes them feel like family. As for him, Tom, and Jordan, Only they know the true reasons for their departures. Unless they decide to share their stories, fans may never know the full details. But one thing is sure, their absence is felt, and the show just isn't the same without them. Fast and Loud continues, but it has lost some of its spark, the special something that these three brought to the screen. Fans will just have to wait and see if the show can find a way to bring back that magic, or if it will continue to change as new faces come and old ones go. Tom decided to sit down with TMZ for an interview when the timing seemed right. Many people thought he might talk about leaving to start a new show because that was the popular gossip. However, Tom had a different story to share. He revealed that he and his colleague were actually fired by their boss, Richard Rawlings. At first, Tom seemed reluctant to go into details, probably to avoid bad-mouthing his former boss. But the interviewer was very good at asking questions, and gradually Tom opened up about the real reason they were let go, which involved an incident with Rawlings' car. Tom explained that Richard Rawlings owns a lot of cars, but he has a particular fondness for his Rolls-Royce. He treasures this car and always makes sure it's kept safe at the Gas Monkey Garage whenever he's around. Tom and his colleague, Jordan, assumed Rawlings' attachment to the car was similar to how other wealthy people love their luxury items. They like them a lot when they buy them, but the fascination usually fades. This assumption was a mistake, as they soon found out. One day, a visitor with fibrosis, a condition that affects the lungs, came to the garage wanting to take some photos. He was allowed to look around as much as he wanted. At the end of his visit, he asked if he could take a photo next to Rawlings' Rolls-Royce. Tom, thinking it was just a simple photo, agreed immediately. He knew Rawlings loved his car, but he didn't think taking a photo beside it would be a problem. Unfortunately, this decision would have bigger consequences than Tom expected. When Rawlings saw the photo of the visitor next to his Rolls-Royce, he was more upset than Tom had anticipated. He started shouting and swearing, which surprised Tom. Tom believed that their job was to make the fans and visitors happy, and allowing someone to pose next to a car seemed harmless. However, he quickly realized that Rawlings did not share this view. In many workplaces, employees are expected to remain silent when their boss is upset, especially if they want to keep their jobs. However, after Rawlings shouted at him, Tom couldn't hold back and responded angrily. This reaction surprised Rawlings and made him even more upset. Jordan, another employee, supported Tom, which only made things worse. Rawlings decided he had enough and chose to fire both Tom and Jordan from the garage. This incident became the talk of the town and led to many speculations. People speculated that Tom and Jordan left to start their own show called the Misfit Garage. While there's some truth to this, the Misfit Garage was more of a plan B. Tom and Jordan would have preferred to stay at Fast and Loud, but after being fired, they needed a new place to showcase their skills. They joined forces with other skilled individuals who were also considered outcasts in their fields, and together they started the new show. It did well initially, but faced challenges later, which is common in business. With Tom and Jordan's reasons becoming clearer, let's shift back to Aaron's story, where things start to get even more interesting. How they took their own path. Tom and Jordan now run their own shop called Fired Up Garage, where they compete directly with Gas Monkey Garage. They aim to win over the market and establish themselves as top players. Interestingly, it's reported that Richard Rawlings has invested in their new venture. So even if they manage to outperform Gas Monkey Garage, Rawlings will still benefit financially. Now let's switch gears and talk about why Aaron Kaufman, another key member of the team, decided to leave Fast and Loud. His departure was even more shocking and caused quite a stir. He was the lead mechanic in a crucial part of the garage. His leaving was unexpected because he was a central figure right after Richard Rawlings. It's hard to imagine someone so integral to the show deciding to walk away. He and Rawlings weren't just colleagues, they were close friends. They knew a lot about each other, and it seemed unlikely that Rawlings would treat him poorly like he did with Tom and Jordan. There were no obvious big fights or issues between them, which made his sudden decision to leave confusing to many. Despite the surprise, he didn't leave people wondering for too long. He chose to announce his departure himself. Unlike Tom and Jordan's situation, where the reasons became clear over time, Aaron's reasons were less obvious. He didn't share much about why he left, but it was clear that if he decided to leave while still enjoying his work, There must have been a significant reason behind his decision. In conclusion, the world of fast cars and television shows can be as unpredictable as it is exciting. The dynamics within a team can change rapidly, leading to unexpected decisions and new beginnings. Whether it's being fired unexpectedly or leaving a top position voluntarily, the stories behind these moves are often as interesting as the shows themselves. Tom, Jordan, and him have each taken their paths, driven by circumstances and choices that define the unpredictable nature of their industry. Aaron's relationship with his boss, Rawlings, had shifted over time. People used to think this change was a big reason he left the show, Fast and Loud. But he later shared his side of the story, which was quite different from what others assumed. The main issue began with the types of cars they were building on the show. Fast, easy-to-build models that didn't take long to put together. This approach was popular with the TV channel because it kept the show lively and moving quickly. Viewers wouldn't want to wait a long time to see a finished car. It made sense for the channel, but it was a problem for the builders like him. He felt this fast pace prevented him from doing more complex, fulfilling work. Deep down, he wanted to work on bigger, more challenging projects. He knew the channel wouldn't agree to this, since it didn't fit their usual style. Feeling stuck and unhappy, he began to think about his childhood dream of building large, powerful cars, vehicles that were much bigger than what the show focused on. He realized that to follow his dream, he would have to leave the show. However, leaving wasn't easy for him. He didn't want to appear as if he was running away from a difficult situation. So he stayed a little longer, trying to figure out the right time to leave without causing problems. Before his fame on Fast and Loud, he worked in a local garage in Dallas, where he felt even more limited in what he could do. His exceptional skills were going to waste there until Rawlings discovered him. This meeting changed everything. Rawlings was impressed by Aaron's abilities, and their professional relationship grew into mutual respect. This partnership eventually led to the creation of the show. He always remembered where he started, which made him cautious and thoughtful about his decisions. Now that we know how unhappy Aaron was, let's see how he took the next big step towards something completely new. His last days at the garage. As time went on, the more he tried to fit into the show's format, the more out of place he felt. He brought up his feelings with his teammates, hoping to find some understanding or a solution. However, it became clear that his vision for what he wanted to do was very different from the show's direction. He felt he was losing part of who he was by staying. This realization led him to plan his exit carefully, ensuring he didn't hurt anyone's feelings or leave his friends in a difficult position. He slowly put his plan into action, and when the right moment came, he announced his departure. Rawlings wasn't surprised by Aaron's decision. He had seen signs of Aaron's dissatisfaction, especially his lack of interest in small cars. When he left, known to fans as the Bearded Wonder, it felt like an end of an era for the show. Fans wondered who could replace him, but years later, it was clear no one could truly fill his shoes. Aaron's departure wasn't just about professional differences. There were personal issues as well. In an interview, he opened up about other reasons for leaving, including some serious disagreements with Rawlings. These weren't minor issues, they were significant enough to impact their working relationship. Aaron didn't share all the details, but he made it clear that the problems were serious. If such conflicts existed between him and Rawlings, it suggested potential issues with other team members as well. Besides the personal issues, there were creative and professional disagreements. These concerns, along with his desire for different projects, convinced him that leaving was the right choice. He was tired of the repetitive work and longed to pursue the projects he was truly passionate about. Aaron's craving for innovation and new challenges was a driving force behind his decision. He valued fresh ideas and meaningful work, which wasn't possible in his current role. After leaving Fast and Loud, he wasted no time. He set out to find people who shared his vision for building large, high-quality vehicles. He looked across America for the best talents who could join him in this new venture. Despite the difficulties of such a high-standard project, he successfully gathered a group of skilled individuals. His leadership qualities shone through, attracting people who were eager to work with him and see his vision come to life. Aaron Kaufman's new chapter was about creating something of his own, a place where he could innovate without restrictions. His new garage became a hub for creativity and skilled craftsmanship, where each project was a testament to his dedication and passion for building exceptional vehicles. His story from a local garage to a nationally recognized figure in car building showed his resilience and commitment to following his dreams, no matter the obstacles. This story of Aaron Kaufman is a reminder that sometimes, to truly achieve our dreams, we must make tough decisions. Leaving a stable position like the one on Fast and Loud was a risk, but for him, it was a step towards fulfilling his lifelong ambitions. His tale is not just about cars, but about pursuing one's passion with courage and determination. Aaron Kaufman's new venture, ArcLight Fabrication, started off on the right foot. He was fortunate to attract several investors right from the start. Among these investors, there were rumors that even Rawlings, his former boss, had put money into Aaron's business. This wasn't the first time Rawlings had reportedly invested in businesses run by former employees, whether they had left on good terms or had been let go. Rawlings has a knack for spotting good business opportunities, even if they involve revisiting past connections. This backing was undoubtedly beneficial for him, who also received support from various other quarters, making his start smoother than most. Once things were up and running, he made a strategic decision to focus specifically on certain types of vehicles instead of attempting to cover all kinds of big cars. He realized that diversifying too much might slow down his progress, so he chose to specialize. This decision reflects a common piece of advice from many successful business leaders who emphasize the importance of finding a niche. Aaron's passion has always been for Ford cars, particularly models from 1957 to 79. He aimed to focus primarily on these vintage models, making them the centerpiece of his business plans. He didn't stray from Ford vehicles, showing his deep dedication to this specific niche. Was Aaron Kaufman's departure from Fast and Loud just a personal choice, or is there a deeper reason we don't know about? Tell us what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.